Hi, welcome to KXAN Plus. I'm your host, Esmeralda Zamora, and here with me in the studio is our chief meteorologist,
Whoa.
Nick Bannin, for Nick's first warning.
I didn't even know we had this camera.
It's a fun camera. It
I
looks
love
like a
it.
spaceship. Well, today we're going to talk about severe weather season,
Yeah.
something that we have not talked about in quite a while.
No, it's interesting here. We go from winter, which is our driest season, into spring, which is our wettest season. So we jump from one extreme to the other, and we also see more extreme and severe weather as we get into spring as well. So it's almost time to buckle up, even though the weather, despite our recent wintry weather, has otherwise been pretty quiet for a few months.
Yeah, the wintry weather here so far this season hasn't been very loud compared
Certainly,
to
yeah,
years past.
not
But
long lasting at least. It was just about a week of cold, and now we're back to the warmth again.
yeah, well, I'm excited to talk about severe weather because I feel like we do need some rain in the
Yeah,
forecast.
and that's sort of the good and bad that comes with the severe weather season. You get the dangers of the hail, the wind, the tornado risk, the flash flooding. But at the same point, it's necessary to get our aquifers to fill up, our lakes to fill up at the same time, even though our lakes are still doing pretty well from last year's heavy rain. And speaking of last year, we had an incredibly busy year last year for severe weather.
We did.
We have a website that our digital data reporter Christopher Adams maintains through the year, where he counts up all the severe weather instances through the year, as well as a lot of other weather data. And severe thunderstorm warnings in the 15 counties that we cover last year, 2025, we had 223 and
Wow.
100 flash flood warnings, and I think it was 19 tornado warnings. Now,
19 in one
yeah.
season.
So these get counted twice if the warning overlaps two counties. So there is some duplication here, but it still was an incredibly active season and more active than what we had in 2024. And of course, not just severe weather in the springtime, but we had our flash flooding in the summer with the devastating and deadly July 4th and 5th floods. And that's what accounts for so many of those flash flood warnings. If they get issued and then issued again, then that's another one. If they get extended or upgraded, that counts as another one as well. So a lot of the flash flood warnings happened in that short period of time in July. So last year was super busy, even though much of the severe weather, not including the flash flooding, happened in the spring. So it is worthwhile giving you a heads up about the severe weather season that is just about to begin here in Central Texas, because as soon as February is done, severe weather season is here, Esme.
And Nick, is it easy to predict how our severe weather season is going to look this year? What goes into deciding or making those predictions?
Yeah, so sometimes you can tell about what sort of season we're going to have if we're still in La Nina or El Nino, but we're expected to go into a neutral pattern just in time for spring. And that's going to not give us much in the way of helpful hints about what our severe weather season is going to be like here this coming spring. So no early signs of a forecast that we can give you yet for severe weather season in spring, but it typically is our wettest season and our most active season, and the season that we get the most severe weather. So let's sum it up for you. Severe weather season in Central Texas begins in March.
Right around the corner.
Right around the corner. We're here closing on just a couple weeks away or so. Storms on average increase in frequency with each passing week. As we head through March, as we head through April, we'll gradually see more and more storms in the forecast week after week. Severe weather season actually peaks in the month of May, and there's usually a quick drop off as May ends and as we head into the first or second week of June, as high pressure starts to dominate, as the heat takes over, and as we enter more of a summer-like pattern. It doesn't always end suddenly like that. Sometimes, a few summers ago, we actually had storms that continued well into summer, and it helped to actually temper the temperatures a little bit and give us a bit of a cool down. But often, the severe weather just sort of shuts off early to mid-June, and then we enter a a hotter, drier period on average in the summer. Although severe weather can happen year round, this is just when it is most concentrated. We can actually dig into deeper detail than what I just showed you because the National Weather Service has a site that we've linked to in our blog where the South Central Texas, which includes the majority of our area, you can see and track the number of severe thunderstorm warnings, the time that typically our season begins and when it typically ends. And according to that data, our season, there's the site there. Nice work pulling that up so quick.
It's hard to read.
It's sort of an old school look to it, but it can summarize the season, when it peaks, and even the peak times of day that we see the majority of our warnings. So the primary season is February 22nd through June 27th. So it's a little longer than we typically summarize our severe weather season because we usually say March to mid-June. So this puts it a little bit longer than that, but not crazy amounts. But interestingly here is that the average peak date of severe weather season in our area is actually May 10th. You know, we talk about September 10th being the peak of hurricane season, and May 10th is the peak of our severe weather season. But then we can get even more in depth on the times that storms are most likely. This could be helpful for anybody planning a wedding or an outdoor party.
Ooh, that's very helpful.
Yeah, 5 to 9 is when we get the majority of our severe weather in Central Texas. It makes sense.
The time that people plan these parties.
Yeah, of course. But no, the heat of the day builds through the day, and the peak heating of the day means that we usually hit our hottest temperatures in the summer between about 4 and 5, and then in the spring as well, of course. So once we've got the peak heating going, then you can start to see increasing convergence and growth in the clouds, and eventually the development of storms. And then those storms, once they start bubbling up, then they continue into the evening before the loss of daytime heating, which really kicks in later in the evening, especially as the sun sets later and later in the spring, means that it takes a little while before those storms die out, but then they usually do as we get toward the late evening hours. So what we'll often find is we've got newscasts at 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10. And I'll be going on at 4, and there won't be typically a whole lot of storms. 5, we'll start to see more. Then between 5:30 and 6, which is when NBC Nightly News is, I'll start to see a big growth in the number of storms. 6 o'clock can be very active from a storm coverage perspective. We'll often do a lot of severe weather cut-ins during the evening newscasts. We've got a 9 o'clock newscast on CW Austin that will be often frequently covering storms. And then as we get to the 10 o'clock news, we'll start seeing a lot of those storms dying down. Not every time. Sometimes they last later in the night, and there's many times that I've got to stay late, and then meteorologist Kristen Curry has to come in early so that we overlap in the middle of the night so that one person's watching the storms just in case anything scarier starts to develop. But often we can get that window 5 to 9, 5 to 10-ish, where the storms are at their greatest strength. And then they typically, while they may hang on overnight, they're not usually as strong as they are during the early to mid-evening.
And why is it that they like to either spark up or sizzle down during the evening time?
Yeah, so daytime heating is a big ingredient in a lot of severe weather because the heat provides the lift, which helps clouds grow, storms to bubble up. And that's because typically you get cooler air higher up in the sky and warmer air down in the ground. And as you heat up the ground more and more, the buoyancy in the atmosphere gets greater and greater, allowing for more lift. And that can sometimes overcome the cap in the atmosphere that's preventing the lift. The more heat you've got on the ground, the more you can break through the cap and develop a lot of storms. So on days when we have a lot of clouds, not a lot of heat, it's less likely that we would get much in the way of severe weather because that lid in the atmosphere or the cap in the atmosphere stays intact, prevents storms from really growing up. But when you get more sunshine, more warmth, more heat, as we do as we go through spring, then you're more likely to break through that cap and develop some taller storms. Taller storms are capable of larger hail and stronger winds. And then also we can see some storms that develop tornadoes as well. So 5 to 9 o'clock is the window there.
And for some of our viewers that may often confuse severe weather season with hurricane season, what are the big differentiators between the two?
Yeah, severe weather season is more localized to us here in Central Texas, and really even more localized than our area as a whole. You can get a severe storm in one county, and then the other county stays sunny, and they were wondering what we were talking about with storms. And then the county that gets the storm say, hey, your rain chances weren't that high. How come it rained on me? That's because sometimes these storms are so localized that many areas are left dry and wishing they had rain, and some areas are left with storms wondering why they didn't get to stay dry if they had those outdoor plans. So severe weather, more of a localized microclimate sort of deal. Hurricanes develop out over the open waters of the Pacific or the Atlantic, at least here locally, or in the Gulf, of course. And they are much broader storms that can have almost a statewide impact rather than a few counties. And those form over water and move over land in many cases, although not always. Sometimes storms stay in the middle of the ocean, but a completely different type of weather. Now, some tropical weather, like hurricanes, tropical storms, tropical depressions, can lead to severe weather, like severe thunderstorms or even bring tornadoes ashore.
Isn't that the reason for our July 4th flooding this past year?
Yes, so it was a storm named Barry that moved inland in Mexico last July. Didn't even really have a significant impact on the Gulf Coast of Texas at all. But then the moisture from it continued to swirl through Mexico and then lifted into Texas. And when you had that combined with plenty of heat in the middle of summer, it allowed what was enough moisture and instability to generate into a very long-lasting and very slow-moving storm system July 4th and 5th. So, yes, it did lead to severe weather in the form of flash flooding, not so much wind or hail, but that's one of those scenarios where you have tropical weather leading to more localized severe weather, because certainly the rainfall totals were very localized. We had parts of the hill country that got 20 to 30 inches of rain, and Austin got 5. Now, 5 is still significant in Austin, but it was a big difference from one neighborhood to the next for those rainfall totals back then.
And is that something that is common or uncommon?
Not common, not common enough to the point that we say that it happens even every year or every 5 or 10 years. But some of the biggest rainmakers we've had in Central Texas and the biggest flooding causing storms have happened from decaying tropical systems that meander and really don't get kicked out, because we don't have the frequency of cold fronts that we do in the late fall, winter, and early spring that we have in the summer. There's not much, if any, in the way of cold fronts at all. And we're far enough away from the storm track that something that would get pushed into Central Texas does not really have a steering mechanism that would kick it out. So it stays for days and days and can
lives
meander
on top of us, right?
Yeah, and that was sort of the perfect storm of disaster that happened for us last July, unfortunately. Yeah.
So what else for this season, this severe weather season?
So now's a great time to think about what you would do, what you need to do to prepare for severe weather. And one of those things is to have a severe weather kit. And this can be a kit that you store in a safe space, an interior room in the lowest level of your home, which would be the type of place that you would shelter with your family in the event of a severe thunderstorm or even a tornado. So having that kit in that tornado safe room makes sense, because that would be the room that you, your family, and your pets would huddle until the weather improved.
Do you have one of these at home?
We sure do. Yeah, under our stairway, we've got an interior closet that doesn't have windows, and it's surrounded by walls and the stairs, and then, of course, the exterior walls as well. So we've got several walls between us and the outside, and we feel it's the sturdiest room. And we've got our severe weather kit in there too, including bottles of water, Band-Aids, stuff for the kids, flashlights. That's the sort of thing we have in there. Now, there's a few things on this severe weather kit that we need to stock up on that we still like. We don't have a whistle in our severe weather kit, but those can be really helpful. You may wonder why, and that's because if
People
your
are
home
coming to look for you, right?
exactly, yeah, let's say that the worst happens and your home gets hit by damaging wind or a tornado, and you're trying to yell for help. Having a whistle can be a good way to for people to hear you further away than your voice could carry. Can opener makes sense. Canned food too. If your home loses power, you don't have. This is maybe more for a long-term severe weather issue. Then you're eating canned food. Having a can opener and easy to access makes sense. Batteries make sense for a lot of different items that use them, including flashlights and a NOAA weather radio, which is a great thing to have, not just in your severe weather kit, but in your bedroom. Having a weather radio that can be set to your liking and alert you even in the middle of the night to dangerous weather.
We hear about those a lot, but where can you actually purchase one of those?
You can buy them from big box stores like Home Depot and Lowe's have them. Midland is a NOAA weather radio producer. Midland, it's called, and you can order them online from them too. They're one of the main brands as far as weather radios go. Flashlights we talked about. Duct tape. You never know when you could use duct tape. Tools, cash, water. Just in case there's power outages, your credit cards aren't going to work. So having the cash there makes sense. So that's what your severe weather kit should look like. And then as we get closer to storms, or even right now, being well ahead of any severe weather, so much of it, Esme, is being weather aware and informed. And if you don't know that storms are coming, then when they arrive, you'll say, "Oh, it hit without warning. I had no idea." And yet we could be warning you for days on TV, and there could be a lot of different watches and warnings that could have prepared you. But if you don't have a way to access them, then you are unprepared. And this is the part that's on you. There's not much we can do to get these methods into your hands except have them available.
And we do have all of the methods you can think of available. We've got that weather app, the KXAN news app, our streaming app, and we're on your TVs.
Absolutely. We try to be everywhere. There's also a great text message, email, and phone alert system called Warn Central Texas.
Yes.
And you can go to their website and sign up for alerts that are tailored to your address, and you can pick what type of alerts you want to receive and times of the night that you perhaps don't want to receive alerts. Although I would say tornado warnings, you would want all night. Even
Tornadoes,
if it wakes you up.
floods, hurricanes, I would suggest.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Although a hurricane you would know is coming a few days ahead of time, we would hope. But some great things to think about here before severe weather even happens, because now's a good time to do it when the weather is reasonably quiet. Just want to discuss the difference between a watch and a warning. This confuses people every year.
This confuses me every year too.
Yeah. So here, this is for you as well.
And it switches quickly from watch to warning.
It can, yeah. So a watch is about preparing. Severe weather could happen, but you may not get any storms at all. And so often we will find, for many of us that really want rain, they get a severe thunderstorm watch. They think that that's at least going to guarantee them rain, and sometimes it won't. And they will stay dry. And the severe thunderstorm watch, they will say, hey, what happened to the storms?
Why didn't I get any rain?
Thunderstorm watch. Exactly.
Yeah.
So a watch is no guarantee that you get rain where you are. It just means that conditions are ripe for the development of severe storms that could produce not just rain, but severe weather.
Yep.
And a watch means sort of, okay, continue to go about your business, but remember that you may need to change your plans. You may need to get home early. You may need to pick up the kids early. You may need to get inside, bring people inside.
Pets inside.
Yeah, pets inside, all that sort of thing. So having a way to receive severe weather alerts and staying weather aware is the key with a watch.
So watch out.
Watch out.
Keep your eye out.
Warning is act.
Oh.
Warning is, hey, there is severe weather either now or very soon. Severe weather likely, seek shelter immediately. So
warning, it's happening. get ready or be ready.
Be ready. You should be ready with the watch. Warning is now that you're ready, do something about it. Now, even with a warning, sometimes these severe thunderstorm warning boxes can be bigger than the storm.
Mm-hmm.
So you may be in a warning box and still not get the rain. So it doesn't mean that the storms didn't happen. It just meant that the National Weather Service, when they draw these warning boxes, they're accounting for, hey, if the storm wobbles a bit to the right or to the left, we want to make sure that the people surrounding the storm would also be ready for any change in direction. But if the storm ends up going straight, then some areas would still get missed. So even a warning is no guarantee that you would get rain, but you wouldn't want to chance it, and you'd certainly want to act if a warning is issued where you are.
And what comes after a warning?
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah,
Watch and warning.
I'd say the only thing worse than a regular warning is an emergency, which is a form of a warning. You can get tornado emergencies and flash flood emergencies. That's when a tornado is not just likely, but it has been confirmed and it is particularly dangerous. Mm-hmm. So EF3 tornado on the ground, you'd get a tornado emergency. It means like, hey, this is not a tornado warning for a potential a storm that has enough rotation that will likely drop a tornado. This is a tornado that has been spotted. It is already causing damage. This is a particularly dangerous scenario, and you want to treat this as seriously as anything. That doesn't mean you don't treat the regular tornado warning seriously. It means like, hey, this is next level. That's what tornado emergencies are. And we've had similar ones with flash flood emergencies, where flash flood warnings would get issued, meaning, hey, there's enough heavy rain that can cause street flooding, potentially stream, creek, and river flooding. Mm-hmm. And then a flash flood emergency is the next step up from a just plain flash flood warning.
But flooding everywhere.
Flooding is occurring, and this is more serious than the vast majority of most flash flood warnings. So we did have those flash flood emergencies last July 4th and 5th. And I just want to, sometimes one county will get a warning and another one won't. One county will get a watch and another one won't. We are split with different National Weather Service offices that cover our 15 counties here in Central Texas. And on the west, we've got Mason and San Saba that are part of our KXAN viewing area, but the National Weather Service office in San Angelo are the ones that issue their watches and warnings.
And they're just closer, so it's more accurate, right?
No, I mean, so in a way, yes, San Angelo, their office is closer to Mason and San Saba than the Austin San Antonio office, yes. But these have all been sort of these county borders
assigned
and watch areas that the National Weather Service monitor have been long decided years, decades ago. And this is just their area of monitoring, and you have to draw the line somewhere. Sometimes it makes a lot of sense. Sometimes it doesn't. But this is just the way it is. And but, you know, sometimes you'll get a watch that begins at 6 p.m. in Mason and San Saba, but it doesn't begin until 8 in Llano. And you're like, why is the time different there? Well, it's because different National Weather Service offices are responsible for that area, and they will think a little differently sometimes on the start and end time of a watch. Sometimes you'll get a tornado watch for one area, but a severe thunderstorm watch for the other, because maybe the threat is shifting from a tornado threat to the west to a severe thunderstorm threat for the majority of the area. But there will be those differences where not all of these offices can necessarily agree on a start time or a watch type and an end time of the watch. And it gets really interesting when there's severe weather right on the border here. Mm-hmm. Say with San Saba and Lampasas County, you can get one warning for a storm in San Saba County that is heading out of the county, but the San Angelo office doesn't issue the warning for that same storm as it continues into Lampasas. The Fort Worth office then has to pick up the warnings going forward. So it becomes a little difficult there when the warning, you think, hey, where's the warning? Is it coming? Because why haven't they just extended it? Oh, it's because it's at the end of their warning area. That's why. So
So
I
they're
figured
just
this
not
would be,
able to extend it. Somebody else has to.
yeah, someone else has to do it because it's the Fort Worth office's job to be in charge of Lampasas and Milam County. So in our area, Lampasas and Milam County are in the Fort Worth office. Houston office is just to our east. So the majority of our counties are under the Austin San Antonio office responsibility, and their office is in New Braunfels. So roughly halfway between San Antonio and Austin.
So we're split down the middle.
In what way?
We use multiple different.
Oh, yeah. We
National
use
Weather
three different
Services.
offices, but of the 15 counties that are in our area, 11 of them are with the Austin San Antonio office. So that is our primary office, but we do still have to stay in touch with the San Angelo and Fort Worth office about what they're considering for watches and things. But I figured this would be a good time to think about that because you may wonder why the different start and end times are for warnings. And then I think we've got a few more minutes. I just want to give you a quick preview of the spring rainfall. And we'll go into more detail here as we get into the spring forecast in a week or two. But spring rains really often ramp up in May. It's interesting that March is wetter than April, and then May is way wetter than both of those two.
I thought April was the month known for April showers.
Yeah, that's sort of
A myth?
national, global thing. Not always true for us. But there's still some showers in April. But May, more than 5 inches of rain. No other month even averages more than 4 inches of rain.
Wow.
So May is a wet month. Last May, we had more than 6 inches of rain. And remember to be aware about flash flood warnings and flash flooding in general, too, as we head into severe weather season, because it's not just about hail, wind, and tornadoes. Flash flooding is serious, too. Having multiple ways to receive those warnings, like through Warn Central Texas, the KXAN weather app. Have those wireless emergency alerts turned on your phone. You can select which ones you want to get there. Having that NOAA weather radio. Home is typically the safest place to be, but there are some rare examples where that is not true. When you're living close to a body of water that may rise quickly, you have to be able to evacuate quickly if the waters start to rise there. And just lastly, our final graphic here, the flash flooding incidents in South Central Texas from 96 to 2020. It's interesting that May is our wettest month, but June actually has the most flash flooding incidents. That is because the ground gets saturated in May with all the rain, and then additional heavier rain that we get in June is more likely to turn that saturated ground into water that has no place to be except to run off into springs, creeks, and rivers and give us more flash flooding in the month of June. And of course, July, our third busiest month for flash flooding. And last year certainly showed us that. So be weather aware. This is just to get you ahead of it while the weather is reasonably quiet now. Of course, on KXAN.com, I've got a blog with this information in it just to get you ready. And as we wrap up February and begin March, severe weather season just about here.
Be aware because as you can see here, just in 2025, we had 223 severe warnings.
Yes.
So we can expect similar numbers this year, right?
It's very possible, but each year manages to find its own way to be unique.
And this is a great graphic for anyone who wants to get prepared, map out their homes, and pack that severe weather kit.
Yeah, that graphic with the tornado safe place, that's where one of those rooms is where you should put that severe weather kit.
One of these green rooms?
Yeah, exactly. That stairwell, that's what I got at home. Interior closet. The bathroom there, not the best. It's a better room, but not the best because it does share an exterior wall. Ideally, you'd want that interior closet that doesn't share the exterior.
This shares
wall.
the exterior.
Yeah, a little bit of the stairwell does too.
Interesting.
Of course, we don't have basements here in Central Texas, but that would be the absolute perfect room.
Well, Nick, thank you for sharing this. I know we're getting into severe weather season pretty quickly, so it's important that we all stay weather aware. And we just got a brand new KXAN weather app, so download it.
Yeah, it's got some great updates. Make sure you go in and customize some of the alerts to what you want, whether they are lightning alerts, warnings, watches, all that stuff. because it is also on you to make sure that you've got those ways to get weather information. We can scream it at the top of our lungs here at KXAN, but if you're not there to hear it or receive those alerts, then you may miss the message, and we don't want that to happen.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nick,
Thanks,
and
Esme.
we will talk next week.
See ya.